This doesn't look like a mall here. We're not in a mall parking lot. It may be kind of like a, this is definitely not a grocery store, even though there's not one, but two mall crawlers out here. What's up guys, Larry Chen here. Welcome to another episode of Hoonigan Autofocus. We're focusing on autos, and as you can see behind me, there's a very interesting automobile. It's a off-road Overland Cayenne, and my really good friend Joey Seeley. Hi Joey.
Hey buddy.
Joey built this from the ground up to actually really off-road, not just pretend off-road. But also Joey owns Emotion Engineering, which they build some of the baddest Porsches ever. He actually works on my 996 Turbo. On top of that, you've built some crazy things that I've featured before, like Project Nasty, right?
Yeah.
Which is a beautiful, beautiful, what was it, a
1985 Carrera originally.
From the outside, it was like, oh, you could see that something special about it, but underneath, it was just so insane. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing recently.
Well, that's kind of my mantra, is to have it be a little bit under the radar, not so much the Instagram build, but the functional, build. So yeah, I built Project Nasty to be tasteful, but a little weapon. I've done lots of builds like, Jeff's Pikes Peak car, and now this Cayenne.
Okay, yeah, so cut to a picture, probably one of the most majestic pictures I've ever taken of Joey during sunrise at Pikes Peak. You actually built the Pikes Peak car for Jeff Zwart, which honestly is one of my really big inspirations. It's so amazing to be able to work with someone like him. Also, on top of that, to be able to follow him in his efforts at Pikes Peak.
Yeah, I agree. That was a fun project. It was great to be part of. Great to have you there. And then followed that up with like the Luft Auto Safari Rally builds, which obviously is a hot ticket these days. Everyone's building Safari something or others. So I wanted to build something a little out of the ordinary. I know, and we all know how capable the Cayenne is, and no one uses it for what it's capable of doing.
Okay, all right. Nobody knows how capable the Cayenne is. No one.
Okay.
Porsche does not build crap. They don't build cars that are not capable, but the problem is 99.9% of Cayenne owners don't actually take their car off-road. The fact that this is sitting out here in the middle of nowhere in the California desert, it already blows my mind. But this one is special. This one's actually diesel too, huh?
Yeah, I wanted to go with the diesel just to be, because when they came out with the diesel, it was like, oh, that's awesome. Obviously, I like the fuel range and the torque, and it's quiet. Honestly, you can't even hear this thing, and I have no rear muffler. We got rid of it in order to, get a better departure angle. But you're right, no one really does know how capable they are, except for a few. Obviously, the first gen Cayenne, they did the Trans-Siberia race, with their competition Cayennes, but they're basically stock with a few mods. I figured, why not give this a shot and build it out to a true dual purpose off-road / something you're not afraid to drive every day and not look ridiculous. The first generation is no offense, kind of like the 996, just the interior wasn't quite as nice, and they were very heavy. So in that respect, they're not the greatest, but yes, it did have a transfer case. Some of them had a locker. That is better in a lot of ways, but I haven't really had any issues being able to follow, the fully built Rubicons and Tacomas and 4Runners and all that stuff. And again, it's not supposed to be a rock crawler. It's supposed to be just something you can use to, get into the mountains and way off grid, for weeks on end and see some beautiful stuff and stay away from people.
So let's kind of do a quick walk around, and if you can just kind of point out the things that you modified on it, just kind of want to go over it. Right off the bat, it's already crazy to see that it's lifted. Tell me a little bit about the suspension.
That's kind of the fun part with the suspension. Anything on this car, nobody makes anything because it is a very small niche. We went to KW, who I have a strong relationship with, and we did the off-road dampers for the Safari cars, but they actually built the German military Touareg suspension, which the Touareg and the Cayenne and Q7 are the same chassis. So they got the drawings from back then and built us a set or 3 sets of these off-road triple adjustable dampers. So we got a 2-inch lift, which is as much as we can with the stock geometry, and then we focused on protection and recovery, so if I were to get stuck, or if I was in a position where I didn't have enough ground clearance, I'm protected. I'm not going to knock any, an oil pan or, knock a line off or anything like that. So this is fully protected underbody with tubular structure, and then 3/16 aluminum skid plates from nose to tail.
Wow, okay, so let's check that out here. It's crazy to see that KW makes anything for off-road at all. And plus you actually have like a real beadlock on here, huh?
Yeah, it's a DOT beadlock, so it's not your typical, with the separate plate. It's those bolts, each one of those bolts is bullet shaped, and it presses against the bead and pushes the bead into the inner lip of the bead seat, which is a lot stronger and not stronger, but a lot pronounced than your normal bead seat. It's like an actual 90-degree lip, and then the entire bead seat is knurled as well. So
wow.
I had a customer with the number 2 build. He punctured out on the trails with no spare because we weren't done with it, and he drove 8 miles with a puncture and it never came off the bead.
All right. Okay, so I see the KW stuff in there. Yeah. So it is adjustable too.
Yeah, it's a triple adjustable, high speed and low speed compression and rebound.
That's so crazy. And that's kind of one of the reasons why this is the first one I've ever seen. I mean, like realistically, nobody makes anything for this thing.
Nobody makes anything. We had to design these bumpers and skid plates from scratch. And then the other, obvious that you guys have seen is this Snorkel.
Right. Yeah, so tell me a little bit about this. This is like a legit crazy weave.
Yeah, it's a real carbon fiber, but it's a camo weave, which we thought would be a little bit of fun. But what it is we took the competition Trans-Siberia Snorkel that goes through the hood. So I got the last one from Porsche Motorsport in Germany, and we took a mold of it and then cut it and reshaped it to go through the fender, because we don't, it's not a dual intake like the V8 from the Trans-Siberia. This is a 3-liter turbo diesel. So the air cleaner, the air box is over on this side, and we just stuck it through the fender.
Wow, so it's actually functional.
Yeah.
It actually goes into the intake.
Correct.
So tell me a little bit about the other things. Like, so did you have to build this from scratch?
Yeah,
this bumper?
So that's the whole bumper structure that actually ties into the frame rail and then down to the subframe as well, because we needed strong points for recovery. So it's fully functional, protects the intercoolers on both sides, protects the radiator below. Like I said, goes to the subframe, and then these skid plates go under the engine and transmission. And then we pick up the structure that you see, the rock sliders on the side. It's a full tubular, like a roll cage underneath the car. So we make sure we don't bounce over, a big rock or slip off and don't, render ourselves stuck.
So do you think this thing you're actually gonna kind of trigger like a movement maybe in the US of people actually building these things for off-road? I mean, because these are so expensive to begin with, you know what I mean?
Well, these aren't, these second gen, the 958.1 and 958.2, especially the diesel, came way down in the used car market. I bought this with 50,000 miles and it was only 35 grand, where it was, originally a $75,000 truck. So I don't know if there'll be a movement. I mean, people are building the first gen ones because they're very cheap. We'll see. I've built 3 and I get a lot of inquiries, but it definitely, as you can imagine, when every one of these vehicles and all the parts are bespoke, we have to make it. I can't even afford to fixture them because I can't amortize the cost across 25 or 50 builds. It's really, I've done 3 and who knows, maybe I'll do a couple more, but it doesn't make sense to fixture anything.
I like the look though. I love it. The wheels really, that's really my favorite part of this build.
Yeah, fully functional, like Perry Dakar rally, off-road wheel and tire package.
And one thing I really love also about this build is that you have a spare tire in the back. It kind of reminds me of my FJ actually, where it kind of swings out. So does this actually tie to the chassis, or how does it?
This is mounted to the tow hitch, but it's loaded so it doesn't wobble. Which is really nice, and you can still tow a trailer. Like through this hitch receiver, you can still tow 10,000 pounds, which is more than the car can tow. But the 7,700 pound tow capacity that this has is pretty amazing. So yeah, it's nice because it swings open and you can still access everything you need in the back. But also, the high lift is mounted to it. you know, to get some of the weight off the roof. And then we've got a little table for, you know, whatever you need.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and a cutting board.
Yeah, it's very overland style.
So very camping.
So tell me, I mean, like this is something that you have to make too, right?
Yeah,
all of this armor.
Yep. We cut off the bottom of the bumper, just the rear valance, and got rid of the rear muffler so that we had better departure angle. And then just mini skid plates in the back there. So like if you were to fall off a rock off the rear wheel, you hit the skid plate. But
it's so weird to see KW suspension on something like this, seriously.
Right.
To see the purple. But I see, so this used to be all muffler, but
Yep.
you just kind of...
Yep, the big old suitcase is gone. And you can see right to the rear differential support is where the skid plate stops back there.
Oh, cool, okay.
Wow. So, and then what about the roof rack? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, just to get a little bit better storage, obviously. I used to have the wheel up there, which wasn't quite great, but now all the, you know, my Pelican cases and jerry cans and everything go up there, or they have up until my next trip. I'll have a rooftop tent up there.
Oh, true overland style.
Yeah.
What about the interior? Is it pretty much stock? Or?
Stock. Nothing to it.
Oh, all right. I think it's time to go for a little ride, and maybe I'll drive it too.
Yeah, do it.
Oh man, this is so luxurious. Holy cow.
Yes, heated and air-conditioned seats, you know.
Oh,
Quite cozy.
As you do. Never been in a Cayenne like this. You think this will slide?
Yeah, cool.
Let's see. Somebody already beat us to it over here.
I better turn traction off. That I didn't do yet.
Oh my god. Yeah, it will slide. Holy crap. You might have to get a good running start. Oh, this thing's crazy. This thing is so fun. Oh, it's interesting. It actually makes an interesting noise when you're going over bumps. Yeah, this thing's like a rally monster over here.
Yeah, it is kind of more rally car than it is, you know, like rock crawler.
Yeah, no joke.
Yeah, all you hear is the whooshing from the shocks, and
Yeah.
the occasional rock hit the aluminum, which is much noisier than it really does damage. It's kind of a nice warning. You know, it rings like a bell, so to speak. So you think you're like, oh shoot, you know, and you tend to take it easier, you know, and you need to take it easy when you're like out for, you know, a week or two at a time, and you're miles from any town or any road, to be honest.
Honestly, this would be the one to get. Yeah, while the twin turbo would be cool to have, I just feel like it potentially is just too much power for off-road. And plus, this being the diesel, I'm sure it gets pretty good fuel mileage, huh?
It gets phenomenal fuel mileage with a full load on the roof, and you know, in the back, I get probably twice the range that, you know, the Tacomas and Rubicons get. It's I don't really even have to carry a jerry can.
Oh, this is the roads that you could really excel on. Oh my god. Look at this guy drifting. Heck yeah. Wow. It's so smooth. It's so nice.
Pretty cush.
Yeah, I like this. Oh, shit. All right, I'm gonna take it for a quick rip.
Let's do this.
All right, let's see. I'm just kind of curious to see how this thing drives.
Be safe, boys.
Alright, let's see. Oh man, this is nice.
Right, it's pretty.
This is just like, whoa, the brakes are really good.
Yeah, I developed a
Whoa.
brake pad for the track cars that do dual purpose street and track.
No joke.
And we threw it in this, and it's I'm pretty happy. That's why I say it feels really like a rally car.
Whoa, like it really stops, even on the dirt.
It's awesome on tarmac, like when you're like on a hill. There you go.
Oh, hey, let's just do it right here.
There you go.
Oh my God, it gets sideways pretty good here. Oh my God, like a lot. Look at that. That's too much fun. This thing is so much fun.
So fun.
It's too bad it didn't come like this from the factory.
Right. But if you think about it, I mean, we've made it like so that it can withstand this, but you know, the drivetrain and transmission are stock. There you go.
Just flicking it.
Yeah, you're doing a far better job than I did
Oh,
with it.
so much fun.
Dude, your drifting background.
Yeah, I guess.
I love it.
Oh, I gotta set it up. It's so silly. Did you get? Oh, did you get one, or did I do one more?
Hazard pay.
It's a bit under, I just realized, but
Oh, that's definitely pitched sideways though. That's sick. Okay. Yeah, it. Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
I gotta avoid those. Yeah, it.
There you go. There you go.
There. That was it. I think that was it. I get it. I kind of see what was happening. If you do it too much, then that's when the brakes start
yeah.
coming on.
Yeah.
I center framed it too much.
Oh, no, that's good.
Yep.
Oh, that's good. All right, thank you. I think we can go now.
That's awesome.
That was fun. All right, now that I worked up a sweat trying to get this Cayenne sideways, thank you so much for bringing
You're
this
welcome.
out for us to play.
I'm happy you outsmarted it. You know, and got it to kick out.
That's kind of the fun thing about electronics. Like, there is a limitation to, I guess, what it can account for. But when you're really dumb like I am, then you could just get it to spin out for whatever reason. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. You built an awesome vehicle, and I hope this kind of thing takes off, really.
I hope so too. I'm having a lot of fun with it. You know, it's just to get out and go experience cool stuff in nature, and then also, I mean, the Southern California roads are overcrowded, so the sports cars are fun, but it's just so hard to have fun. So you may as well do one of these and get out, you know, into the mountains or the desert and just hoon.
There you have it. I can't say it better than that. That's a wrap.